Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Lianne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together.
Hey, leader, we are back. We are back in our podcast studios recording, and it's great to be back. Amelia is now 3.5 months old, and it's so great to be back together. It's after summer, and we're just so excited to dive into the fall, get grounded again, right, in our goals and our mission. And today we wanted to just reiterate why we're here, why we do what we do, and why we show up each week in your podcast app that you choose to use and listen to us, and the stand that we take, right? Carol, for leaders, for women out there, for the impact that you are creating and how you really get to be unleashed and unstoppable and do it without overworking yourself, without being burnt out. Well, you get to have fun in the process. And for those of you that are moms, well, you get to be a mom too while you do it, and really taking a stand that you get to be able to do both, right? Be a mom, be that impactful leader, and really make that difference in the world. So yeah, we're excited to be back, right, Carol?
We are. We're super excited to be back and share a little bit about our stories and why we're passionate to be here, as you were saying, Alex. So, Alex, Lianne, I know you're in a particular part of your journey right now, which is a very wonderful and blessed and exciting part. Share a little bit about this transition in motherhood and being passionate about those of you we serve out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, the listeners may know, or maybe if you're new to our podcast, I have now a 3-year-old and a 3.5-month-old. And so enter, in the toddler stages and learning all about toddlerhood and being with Amelia as well and spending time with her and, breastfeeding. It creates a lot of space. And so I've been able to do a lot of reading. And as I'm reading a lot about toddlerhood and child brain development, it is fascinating and links back to just the work that we have been doing with our clients and what we've learned as master neuro coaches about how our brain works, right? And how our brain and our thoughts and our beliefs impact, the decisions, the actions that we take to create our results. And what's really fascinating when it talks about the passion, why we're here, is just really understanding the role that our brain does play, the role that our brain plays in us as leaders as we show up, but also the people that we serve, our clients, our teams, our colleagues, our children, our partners. And so when I think about burnout, right? When I think about burnout being on the rise for a lot of women, especially in corporate with, working with a lot of women in corporate, it just goes back to the society and how the role that how society defines who we get to be and how we get to show up and how we really get to go back to defining really what that looks like for us. And so I think that's really what it comes to. And, for fall is it's an emotional time because it was, what are we at? 4 years ago. 4 years ago is when I hit that wall, my burnout, where I just completely crumbled. And at that moment, it completely changed the trajectory of my life, my leadership, what I get to do now and who I get to serve. But I'll never forget that moment. I will never forget that moment where, I just started shaking and my body just couldn't take the stress and anxiety I was under anymore. And I just crumbled. And I just remember in that moment, all the thoughts of, not wanting to look weak, not wanting to look dumb, not wanting to have my credibility jeopardized, so afraid, having so much fear, just letting all the external define me and define my success. And now being able to break free from that. And course, we still have moments, right? We still have moments where that happens, but really having the tools to break free from that. And I know that's why I'm passionate. I know that's why you're passionate, Carol, of really taking a stand to help women really understand what's going on, right? 95% of our daily actions, decisions are influenced by our subconscious.
Yeah.
Our subconscious, like things that are happening around us, people that we're encountering, conversations that we have, books that we read, television, right? Like Hollywood, our past, right? Like a lot of this stuff comes from generation, looking at how our parents grew up, or our in-laws grew up, or our great-grand, like, I mean, it's generational patterns.
It really is. Yeah.
And, just having that awareness, I don't like, I think that was the one thing, Carol, when you and I think both heard that same stat, right? It's like 95% of our results come from that subconscious. It was just mind blowing and earth shattering, because it's like, wow.
And some even say 97% now. But I really, I want to touch on a couple of things you said that are so important, because you and I have been on this journey together since October of 2019, I think it was. And your story is so powerful, and all of the things that you were just talking about. One of the things that I want to celebrate that I saw in you immediately was you took action. You immediately entered Shannon Irvin's neuroscience certification program, her Epic Success program at that time, and neuroscience program, because yes, you were breaking down and it was impacting you. But you very quickly took action to take care of yourself and to take a step back and to start to rewire that and to heal that and to put yourself in the presence and in a community where we're still together today, 4 years later, which is so powerful. And I just want to acknowledge that. That was amazing. And you were vulnerable in the situation, inside the program. You were real about what you're experiencing. And I want to bring this out and highlight it, because you can be in safe communities where you can be vulnerable and authentic, and you can heal. And the neuroscience work that Alex and I do is a part of the process where your healing can dive in. And that's somewhere where I've been really going deeper. My messaging is evolving a lot in that right now. So,
and what I want to preface, and thank you for acknowledging that in me, Carol. What I go back to is the fact that I was finally in a room that I didn't feel like I was the only one. And you may have noticed, especially listener, if you've listened to some of our past episodes in the last couple of weeks, this talk about leadership is only at the top. And this is something that was really driven into me. And I really believe that. So to have been on that road feeling leadership is only at the top and I'm by myself, I'm lone wolfing it. I got to do this all by myself. I need to prove my worth, prove myself, prove all of this, right? Show my knowledge. And then to have this burnout. Yes, I'm eager. I took action because I wanted to fix myself. I'm like, okay, what is going on here? And then to step into a room to realize, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one. And I think that's why you and I are here, Carol, with the podcast, is to help the female leaders out there realize they're not alone in this, that there's so many other women out there that have felt like they're, that they're the odd man out, that nobody else is like them, that nobody gets them. And I remember as hearing the statistic, I think it was, there's 5% of us, there's 5% of us out there, but here now I am in this room with all these 5%ers that are in the room just like me. Yeah. And so to finally be in a place where I felt that people got me, I could finally for the first time open up. And it took me a while. I don't feel like it took me a while to see others open up too, because it was that trust piece. But once that had happened, it was a lot easier. And it was because of, Carol, yourself and others in the room that were open and honest and sharing what was going on. I was able to drop the wall that I built around me to keep me safe from getting hurt. Right. And that was a big, big shift for me. And it was the first time in a very long time, if perhaps even ever, where I finally felt like I was somewhere where I belonged. And I feel that there's I know what, because of our clients, right?
Yeah.
That there are so many women out there that felt like I did. And I know you're going to share your story in a minute, Carol, that felt like you. And we want to take a stand for that you don't have to go at this alone, that leadership is not lonely, and that you can be, your true authentic self and still, being a creator, right? Make that impact, still stand for change, still have people look at you and not have to show up as in this mold that you feel like you have to, right? Like really breaking through the have tos and the shoulds and that pressure, that societal pressure that we often, and it's no fault of our own. It's just the way that it works. And our brain's going to look for patterns. And if we're going to hear things or see things and witness things over and over again, our brain's going to think that, hey, that's the story. That's the programming. That's the code of how things should be. And we're here to take a stand to say, guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. And right, you are the creator of your thoughts, and your thoughts create your reality. And you have the power to write a new story, to be that bold, irresistible, bold leader, to be your true authentic self. And that it's okay, like giving yourself permission. And so our journey, as Carol said, it's been, about 4 years when we were still learning every day. But we want to take what we are learning and share with you so that you can experience that change as well and not have to go about it alone. So, I know I can't go because it just,
but that's really it. That's it. That's why we're passionate about bringing this information to you, because there are very clear processes to change your life. And Alex, Lianne, I'll tell you my story. The way my story is evolving right now is, very much in alignment. When you've experienced trauma, and we all have on differing levels, you want to hide. Hiding is a safety mechanism, and it's a survival technique. But when you are able to go through the process of rewiring and recoding your brain to bring in your true identity, to bring in your success beliefs, to have that be your default mode, as Alex was saying, we make 95%, and some even say 97% of our daily decisions. How do you measure that? I don't know. I'm not a researcher in that way. So, but, the thing we reiterate with you is that we think over 60,000 thoughts a day, somewhere around that. And again, there are specific ways that is as being quantified, as being looked at and measured. And because of that, we wouldn't even have the energy to lift our heads off the pillow if we didn't have this amazing automated system. So, we've given multiple examples. You can go back and listen to our other episodes. But one of the things that's evolving for me in this journey of being able to use this simple neuroscience process, and specifically in the realms of wealth, and specifically operating by principles in alignment with who we truly are, recognized right away that it went into identity. And we talk a lot about that here, that your voice matters, that you're valuable, and that you get to really be grounded in the truth of that, in the truth that you matter and you're worthy. And along the journey, looking at different components of how that comes about, my story now is evolving to really go deep, high level into the healing process of healing your money story and healing your trauma. And I'm loving this because of my own journey, because of the healing that I've come through, my story being one of being wealthy and yet living in scarcity and in fear and making decisions from that place instead of from a place of real abundance. And all of this ties together, the leadership, the neuroscience, and the wealth journey. And it really grows and expands because we're integrated beings into health, into relationships, into the careers we have, the education we have, whether we're entrepreneurs. I've got some amazing, amazing clients who are having incredible breakthroughs right now because of my story, being passionate about sharing this, who are removing shame and guilt around money, who are removing being told continually that they didn't have the capacity, who were in high-level toxic relationships. And I'm excited to share some of these clients with you in the future. These are rock star, high-level, high-achiever clients who are doing amazing things in the world that if you saw them on the outside, you'd be going, I want to be like that. But yet we all have these stories that get to be recoded, that get to be rewired so that we can have what we want in the fullness of it, in the completeness of it. And so that's why I'm passionate, Alex, Lianne.
Well, and you talked about the identity, which we do really lean into so much because even for, as some of your clients were mentioning too, Carol, right? Like on the outside, as you said, people will look at them and think, oh my goodness, but yet the person that they see in the mirror may not be the person that other people see. And I know that was a big thing for myself. I was so afraid of the image, right? Of our identity. Yeah. And even going from, being in the corporate space, then becoming a mom, then being an entrepreneur, now becoming a mom of two, we oftentimes will look at where we are today versus stepping into the identity, which is some of the work that we do with our clients, by stepping into the identity of the person that you get to become with what you want to do.
Yeah.
But also a lot of times we're finding ourselves spinning in the circle of wanting to be who we were. Part of a lot of my story was I wanted my motivation back. I wanted my resiliency back. And I just got caught up in this cycle of, I want the motivation. I want the resilience. And when we find ourselves with these stories that we've learned, right, we're going to keep circling in wanting something versus changing the dialogue, changing the programming versus being confident and being motivated and then letting everything else kind of fall into place after that. And so really doing a lot of that work in wherever you are. So to the listener today, like really ask yourself, like, how do you see yourself? Do you find yourself wanting to be XYZ versus declaring who you are? As you're walking into, this was a lot for me, like walking into, the boardroom for a senior leadership meeting, I would walk in there and I'd get intimidated. And I had all these stories going in my head around the people around the table. And my whole dialogue down the hallway was all the inner critic. Yeah. And now, oh my goodness, I could have completely changed the dialogue. I could have completely changed the story. I could have changed how I showed up in seeing the gifts in myself versus walking in there and needing the validation with everybody around the table. But it's automatic, right? Like this is what's so powerful, is not even being aware of that. So just by having that awareness of the inner critic, right? Having the awareness of some of these limiting beliefs. And it happened to me yesterday at a workshop. I had a limiting belief that like I kind of knew was there, but I wasn't really sure about it until having a conversation and having dialogue, which is that power of that community, right? The power of taking that time to just sit there and understand, like, what is going on? Like, what is it that's holding me back? What is it that has me show up and feeling this way? Right. A lot of times, right. It's our feelings and our thoughts combined that create that belief. And so creating that space, and again, part of the other stand that we stand for is not experiencing the burnout, right? Really being healthy, strong, powerful women in your role that you play, and not living on the whole hustle. Like we're here to end that hustle and show that you can still be extremely successful. Bless you. As right. And it's not about the do all the time, go, go. But you can thrive, right? I mean, Dan talked about it in the interview, his first interview, right? Talked about the power about creating that space and that calm piece and, paying yourself first. Yeah. And I think we just can't hear that enough, that reminder to lead that way.
I think, it's, and, the way you highlighted the pieces of identity are, standing grounded and knowing, that you can change that internal dialogue. And that's what I love about our process. And this is, the why we're passionate, again, bringing it home to you, because for me, it was so powerful to learn that there were actual tools. It wasn't vague anymore. Before that, it was vague and it was confusing because I was like, well, I know I'm in a negative mode, but I don't really know how to get over here and get unstuck. And this is something I talk about all the time now is, God bless Instagram. I use it just like the rest of us, but you can easily watch Instagram reels and go, oh, I should do this and this and this. And oh yeah, I talked to my best friend and she's been using this mindset technique that she got from Therapist X. And I'm trying that now. And then it's just this conglomerate of thinking we have a way out, when in reality, it's very simple. And there is a clear process. And, being able to have those tools available so that as we move forward, as we up level as leaders, as we're creating the reality we desire, and we're going into the stretchy, uncomfortable zones and leveling up and doing the things in life that we really, really desire to do, we get to have tools to help us through that process, to take us through that coming up, everything from knowing how to celebrate ourselves to the recoding process, knowing our identity, gratitude, and building our confidence along the way and having clarity around our visions. These are the tools that I have learned and experienced that have been so meaningful for me in my journey and continue to use. And they're things that I desire to bring to you too. It's like, when everything's been really dark and gray and all of a sudden the clouds part and the light comes streaming in and you're going, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope for me. I can win. And I'm like, oh man, I got to share this with people. This is amazing. Right. And so these are parts of my story and, your story, Alex, Lianne, where we will continue to bring this information to you and these amazing interviews we've been having as well, especially while you've been on maternity leave, which has been super cool. So,
I think I just wanted to remind the audience, right? Like your past doesn't have to dictate your future, doesn't, right? You really get to rewrite it, and just having that invitation to ask yourself, right? What is it that you want? Yeah. Really, what is it that you want? How do you want to feel? What is the life you want to experience? Yeah. What is the relationship you want to have, with your colleagues, your coworkers, your family, your children, your siblings, your parents? And
I hate to interrupt you, but the thing is, you're bringing up such an important point because I'm also working with some clients who really need healing. And when we get really deep into our trauma stories. And for me personally, it was looking like I was a victim. I thought I was a victim, and I was living my life making decisions in that way, thinking I had no control and I just had to take it and everything was coming at me. And I was recycling that past, those traumas, and then making all my decisions out of them, like you're talking about. And to find out that we have power, we have control, we literally can be unleashed and unstoppable. I heard a great definition of responsibility. It's, I thought it was so magical. It's our ability to respond. Response ability. I thought that was so cool. You have power. That's why we're here, to help you know that, your healing is possible, even when you're in the throes of it, when you're in the throes of those stories and those strong emotions and the survival state and feeling like you have no control, because even victim can be a triggering word for people. It's really important that you understand you absolutely can get out of it. There is a way out. And so, yeah, I just had to touch on that.
Well, it comes back down to, right, that vision of what it is that you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if there's a cycle, if there's the inner critic, if there's things that are going on that you want to stop, just by, I mean, it's powerful, magical, as we know, right? Even with the reticular activating system, like just getting clear on what it is that you want. It's fascinating how all of a sudden things just start to open up or show up. The opportunity where you didn't see opportunity before. And so it's the power of being grounded and having that clarity on, you know, it's the guiding star, right? Or the compass, the North Star, something that just helps you keep focus on what it is that you want. I know for me, I was so caught up in the fear. I was so caught up in the judgment. And I was so caught up in what other people would think about me, how other people saw me, right? Like really about how other people looked at me and my identity. I totally lost sight of what I was doing, of my passion, of why I did what I did. And I let everybody else around me and society define who I was and what I did, right? It's not about what you do. It's about, it is really who you are, right? So I lost sight of who I was as a woman, as a, you know, a passionate, you know, happy, joyful woman, and then making decisions from that place. And I defined by my title and what I did, define what it was. And that was a massive shift. And that's what huge. With a lot of, with burnout in leadership roles, is looking at the doing piece versus the being piece, right?
Yeah.
And being connected to who you are as an individual. And I know that that's the identity piece we're passionate about, because it's when you can remove yourself by, you know, we interviewed a few weeks ago, and it was about, it was removing yourself as the chief officer of everything. Right. Removing yourself as like the thing that you're doing, it removed yourself from that, the entity, not being the right. And the same in wherever you are, right?
Yeah.
Or still you.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're stuck in that doing piece, it's so important to know you are going to be defaulting to what is wired in. Like we were talking about, we're repeating this often. You are making, you know, well over 90% of your daily decisions from what's wired into your subconscious. And, you know, as you mentioned, 95%, whatever the percentage is, it's a lot, right? We're making those decisions without even an awareness of what's driving them. And so when we're talking about the doing piece, when you're in the doing rather than the being, your doing is going to be always defaulted to your past experiences, to your beliefs, limiting and successful beliefs. You do have success beliefs right now that are wired in from your childhood, that you may not even, again, be aware of. You may not be looking at the evidence for those, but with the doing, you're defaulting to those experiences, and we get comfortable. It's our safety zone when we start to see the negative things or experience the negative things, like feeling like I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not capable. I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I'm spinning. What's your voice? What's your inner critic saying? What's that awareness? Because there are things that you're operating by that you don't even realize. And especially when you're in the doing zone as opposed to the being zone.
I think it's a great place to invite the listener, right, to just go back to who you are as a being and connect with yourself.
Yeah.
Go back to and connect with who you are, your being, really get connected with what it is that you want, not on a surface level, like really, what is it that you want? What is the legacy you want to leave, the impact you want to create? What is it that you want? And just have that something that you can get grounded in each and every day. So then when your subconscious takes over, you have something that you can consciously go back to. And I would say, like, as you were speaking, Carol, that was something that came back to me, is that you get to be consciously aware and then make decisions and take those conscious actions. As you consciously make some of those decisions and have that awareness piece, you're basically put back in, the driver's seat of your life. You get to be put back in control. And a lot of us love to be in control, and we try to hold on to everything. That also doesn't allow us to create the space to be able to connect with what is going on. What is the internal critic? What are the limiting beliefs? How has society dictated what I'm doing? And being empowered to go back in the driver's seat, right? Really being the driver of your life. And I think once we have, or I know, and I believe we know through neuroscience, once we have awareness of what is really going on in our subconscious, it does has the power to be back in the driver's seat and make those conscious decisions. It's just building that muscle to be consciously aware because of how much is ran on our subconscious.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And Amelia, what do you have to say about all this? I see your little eyes, and I'm so glad you're here with us. And I'm so excited to be on this journey with you, Alex, Lianne, and we're here excited and passionate about what we bring you. And we wanted to let you know a little bit about that today. So we will see you next week, and we have more amazing information coming up for you. It's going to be absolutely fabulous. So stay tuned with us, and we're so glad you're here.
We also want to invite you, if you're enjoying the podcast, please leave us a review, leave us a rating. And if there's any particular topic you would like to hear us dive into, please let us know. Oftentimes we're inspired by some of the patterns we're noticing in our clients and things that are, maybe coming up for us. But if there's anything in particular that you're noticing, you'd love to hear us dive in more in the neuroscience of what you're experiencing at the moment, please, connect with us on Instagram. I'm alex.lianne.carter. Sorry, I almost said Carol. So alex.lianne.carter, and Carol is also on Instagram at, oh no, you say your Instagram handle.
Neurocoach Carol. Yeah, it's in the show notes. No fear.
In the show notes. And we've also got, links to our gifts as well. If you want to get on our newsletter. And we're so grateful and happy that you are here. And we're so looking forward to, our lineup of guests and topics that we're going to be diving into.
Yes, it's true. And thank you for that, Alex, Lianne. And we both have programs that you can work with each of us too. So just connect with us anytime. We're here for you, and we're super excited. So ciao for now.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Lianne Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.